Manchester United. Manchester United in the summer spent around 250 million euros on brand new attackers, but they're still 14th place with 7 points from 6. And then came two very concerning fixtures. 3-0 loss in the Manchester derby against City, and then knocked out of the Carabao Cup on penalties by Grimsby Town. I don't even know where Grimsby Town is. Mind you, when Amorim came in last season, they were 13th place and things were very, very dark at Manchester United. And with Amorim doing so well in Sporting, Man United fans and football fans alike thought, well, surely it can't get any worse for Man United, can it?
It can.
But worse was yet to come. Manchester United finished the season 15th place with 42 points, rounding off a campaign that saw them losing the Europa League final against Tottenham Hotspur. I don't know how they managed that. And the game itself was actually terrible. So the question we're trying to answer, and the question that I guess Manchester United fans that are still in tune with the club and, watching week in, week out, are trying to figure out, can Rúben Amorim fix Manchester United, or will they sack him, making the 10th managerial change since Alex Ferguson left? My name is MB, and let's get straight into it. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button to join MB United if you do love these Premier League talks. And also comment down below your takes. Do you think Rúben Amorim should just be sacked and United should get it over with? Or is there still a glimmer of hope for Rúben Amorim at Manchester United? So what's really broken? What's really going on with Man United? Now, the first problem to tackle is chance creating versus finishing. And when I say chance creating, I mean creating actual chances. None of this half chance rubbish where it's deflections and then it goes wide. Real proper chances. Now, last season, Manchester United's shot conversion, which is again the total shots compared to how many goals they actually scored, was around 8%, which is shocking, especially for a Manchester United side. With over 520 shots, they only scored 44 goals. And I think this is evident with the way they play. Bruno Fernandes sitting in a deeper role, spamming long balls and crosses into the box for essentially no one, was never going to be the winning formula for them last season. Now they have Benjamin Sesko in the box. Things could change. But even early on in the season, it still seems like more of the same dull and lethargic Manchester United when it comes to finishing off chances or even creating chances. The second point, set pieces. It feels like anytime we see Manchester United play against a team that is somewhat decent at set pieces, they are vulnerable. You feel like they are going to concede at any given moment, whether it's a direct free kick, whether it's a corner, or even the popular long throw. Across the whole of last season, Manchester United conceded 15 goals from set pieces, which is absolutely alarming. And if you want to talk about this calendar year, according to Opta, they have shipped 17 set piece goals. Mind you, this does not counter in penalties. So with penalties, they've shipped even more. And that is a figure that is the worst in Manchester United's entire Premier League history. It seems like Rúben Amorim is definitely a record breaker, but for the wrong reasons. And if we look at the third thing that's wrong, there is a lack of control in these games. Now, I've spoken about underlying numbers and XG and how many they've conceded and scored for the last 2 points, but for this one, this is all about the eyes. Manchester United cannot control a game. Against Arsenal at the start of the season, one of their best performances I've seen in recent months. They didn't even control the game in that game, but what they did do was counter and counter and counter. We saw Manchester United being a counter-attacking side under Jose Mourinho, and it worked to some degree. Until it didn't. But at least under Jose Mourinho, they had some sort of identity. The midfield was structured and set up in a way that means that they would be deadly on the counter-attacks, but extremely set up well defensively. With Rúben Amorim's side, as much as they were playing well on the counter against Arsenal for the first game of the season, since then, they don't really have that same bite, that same bark in their attacks, or even in the setup in midfield, it doesn't look like a midfield that is set up to suffice for a counter-attacking team. There's a problem in that midfield and Amorim is too stubborn to fix it. Simple as. There's a problem with the two number 10s that sit behind the striker. They're not essentially getting wide enough, but I guess that's not their role. But even if that's not their role, the wing backs don't really seem competent enough when it comes to supporting the attacks and feeding crosses into the box, which is what someone like Sesko was probably brought in to be on the end of. And then lastly, a psychological hit. There is a lack of confidence in this Manchester United team, and you can smell it even before they get on the pitch. And that was perfectly summed up by the 12-11 penalty loss against Grimsby Town in the Carabao Cup, one of Manchester United's most embarrassing football displays, probably in history. Definitely at least in my lifetime. I have never seen Manchester United hit such a low. It's crazy. Now, we understand what's gone wrong with Manchester United, but what does Amorim actually bring to Manchester United? What has he tried to impose upon this Manchester United team? So Amorim in Sporting was known for his back three football, and when he came in, said he's going to play the exact same way no matter what. We fast forward almost 12 months later, and the formula is not working. A classic 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-3 if you will is what Amorim knows as his bread and butter, and he said it numerous amounts of times in press conferences. The way he wants to play is the way they will play. Whether they get the results or not, he will not change for no one. 3 centre-backs at the back, high attacking wing-backs, compact pressing football, and long vertical passes to the attacks. Now let's not get this confused. That tactic and that setup won him leagues in Sporting and made him a winner in Portugal. But over here in England, in the Premier League, in the best league in the world, this press is not cutting it. The midfield pivot is getting cut through like a hot knife through butter, and honestly, the wing-backs are not great. Now this is me in no way, shape or form saying that 3 at the back will not work in the Premier League, because it definitely has. The likes of Antonio Conte, Thomas Tuchel, Mikel Arteta, and even Arsene Wenger at the end of his tenure at Arsenal managed to play in the 3 at the back, and it works pretty well. However, with Amorim, more than 30 games under his belt and a 27% win success rate, it's looking quite bleak for Manchester United and Rúben Amorim if he continues to be stubborn and stay with this 3 at the back. Now, at least with last season, we could say that Amorim didn't have a pre-season. Amorim didn't really have a transfer window to bring in these players that he wanted to suit his system. Whereas this summer, he had exactly that. They brought in Sesko, they brought in Mbeumo, they brought in Matheus, Cunha. They also brought in Lamens, a goalkeeper, looked to replace Andre Onana, who's gone to Trabzonspor on loan. Now for the outgoings, Rashford and Onana both left the club on loan, and Antony and Garnacho were both sold on permanent deals. This plan was clear. Amorim was done with your out-and-out wingers, and he wanted more central wingers, or central forwards, I guess they can play behind the striker, such as Mbeumo and Cunha, and that's exactly what he got. Not to mention Højlund leaving for Napoli, which paved a clear path for Sesko to get consistent minutes as Manchester United's main number 9. But this transfer window, the new look front 3 of Sesko, Mbeumo and Cunha, doesn't look to be ticking as well as Amorim thought it would. Now again, a lot of this is my own opinion that's been formulated and packaged up for you guys, but if we look at the numbers, and according to the numbers where Manchester United are leaking, it looks pretty bleak as well. Manchester United are poor on transition, and their box security is damn near non-existent. And this was clearly shown by an XGA of over 50 for the whole of last season. Now the XGA is just expected goals against, but this clearly shows that Manchester United were vulnerable throughout the entirety of the season. This wasn't just a one-off, this wasn't just a fluke. It was a flaw in the system, and we all saw it. Time and time again last season, when it came to the big games, especially at home, Manchester United were pathetic. Like, let's just call it what it is. Losing at home 3-0 to Tottenham, to Liverpool, to Brighton 3-1, to Newcastle 2-0, and not even managing to get back-to-back Premier League wins is insane. For a club of Manchester United's size, insane. For their reputation, insane. Oh my goodness. Again, as I mentioned it earlier on in the video, 15 set-piece goals that they conceded last season, 17 for the year, that's not counting penalties. And then the poor shot selection, 8% conversion rate is absolutely stupid. And do you know what? I'm gonna get it up. In comparison to the other teams in the league, it is shocking. It's funny because that stat of 8% is all competitions. In the Premier League, it sits at 6.4%. To put this into context, teams such as Arsenal, Newcastle, Manchester United, Liverpool are all sitting comfy around that 9% mark, 10%. Manchester United's shot conversion rate in the Premier League alone was the lowest, joint lowest, with bottom of the table Southampton. I've clearly gone off script here, but this is insane. So what needs to be fixed at Manchester United? Now the first thing that I would fix if I was Manchester United coach is their defensive capabilities on set pieces, and maybe the attacking ones too. There should be clear instructions when it comes to the set pieces. Are we going to do zonal or man to man? Are we going to make sure our keeper doesn't get crowded, or are we confident in our keeper to, get through the crowd and punch the ball away? Now I'm not saying that they do this and then all of a sudden they don't concede from corners anymore, but they can definitely cut that number from 15 down to like 7, maybe 6. That will be a massive improvement for Manchester United. Number 2, protect that midfield. Now, if I were Amorim and I was going to stick to a back 3, I would change to a 3-5-2, meaning there's still a 3 in that midfield. Maybe it's 2 central defensive midfielders and 1 in the middle, meaning that on transition, we are protected. But realistically, if it was me, I'd just go back to a 4-3-3. You can't go wrong with a classic 4-3-3. It provides stability in the midfield and ensures that, on transition, you have more than one person in that midfield. And maybe, just maybe, try put one of the 2 10s as an actual traditional number 10. Now, if this means that playing Sesko and Mbeumo up front together with Cunha just behind them, and then 2 other midfielders just behind Cunha, this could probably provide a lot more midfield stability than what we're seeing right now for Manchester United. Number 3, use Bruno Fernandes as God intended him to. Bruno Fernandes is a number 10. There is no use having Bruno Fernandes, who is a classic number 10, a traditional advanced playmaker. There's no point in having him sitting deep with the CDM. If he is going to sit deep with the CDM, it's going to be in a line of 3, and he is most likely going to be the advanced of the 3. Again, like I said, move back to a traditional 4-3-3. Keep Bruno at the tip of that 3, the most advanced midfielder in that 3. Push Mbeumo wide, push Cunha wide, and utilize the space that Bruno Fernandes loves to play in. And lastly, use the press properly. Because right now at Manchester United, we're seeing a lot of pressing all the time, a lot of players pressing all the time. It looks disjointed, it looks disorganized, and frankly, it doesn't seem like there's a trigger for the press. It doesn't seem like Manchester United are saying, okay, cool, when the ball goes out to the left back, we all press, or when the ball goes out to the right back, we all press. They're just pressing, running around like chickens. Honestly, hit those 4 nail on the head, and there will be no doubt that Manchester United will start to climb in the table. I'm not saying they're going to start going undefeated and Manchester United are going to be like Manchester United of the 2000s, but at least they'll be getting results. They'll be turning these losses into draws, and maybe even gaining the edge that turns these draws into wins, lifting them from the second page, because I'm sure nobody wants to be seeing that. Okay, maybe some people want to see that. So here's my final verdict. Do Manchester United have a squad that can be playing European football next season? Yes. Will Manchester United get there playing the same way with Rúben Amorim, 3-4-3? Hell to the no. Should Manchester United sack Amorim? I think they should give him probably 1 more month. 1 more month to save his job. Can he turn things around? Will he change his system from a 3-4-3? I heard that there's rumours that the board have actually asked him to play a 4-3-3. Will he listen, or will he continue being stubborn? And lastly, have you subscribed? Because it's free. Honestly, it's free. This is the end of the video, so thank you so much for staying with me. Make sure you drop your takes in the comments down below. And like I said, subscribe if you enjoy these videos and slap a like on it as well. There's going to be another video popping up right here on screen, and then you're going to enjoy that one more than you enjoyed this one. So until next time, keep it real, and I'll see you when I see you in a bit.